Hello, today I'd like to talk about the true cause of mental illness. So, basically, the mainstream understanding is that it's genetic, um, which I didn't really have any other knowledge at the point that I got sick. I didn't have any other information. So, we're basically told that it's our bodies, something's wrong with our bodies, and that, the thing with mental illness is it's also blamed on our character. So it's not just our physical body, but then it's like, well, their character comes into question. It was questioned whether or not I was lazy or unmotivated, or if it was just character flaws. I kept messing up because maybe I'm just a flawed person. And the hard thing with mental illness is it really kind of gets blamed on the person, which is really a terrible thing. When you learn the truth, what really causes it, and that it's not your fault, has nothing to do with you, it's really sad that people are getting blamed for their suffering. It's like blame the victim. So I just want to go into this a little bit because I have experience with this. I was sick for 10 years with mental illness, schizoaffective disorder. I've now been healing and medication free for over almost 6.5 years. And I learned a lot. And I just want to share my experiences because if I had this information when I first got sick in my early 20s, it would have been so helpful. It would have saved me so much hurt and suffering and questioning and wondering why me and just the hardship that I went through. So basically, there are two causes of chronic illness. There are pathogens and there are toxins. Okay, and this is the same with mental illness. Pathogens could be a virus or a bacteria. In the case of mental illness, it's viral because viruses are what cause neurological symptoms. So, like when I had extreme depression, the fatigue, the muscle weakness, achiness, that's viral neurotoxins causing that. Toxins could be chemical toxins from cleaners, pesticides, fungicides, gas vapors, perfumes, air fresheners, all the chemicals, industrial chemicals that we're exposed to on a daily basis. And heavy metals as well is a toxin. And what happens is that the viruses feed off of these toxins and excrete a neurotoxin, which is what causes the neurological symptoms. The heavy metals also are a cause of mental illness because the heavy metals collect in the brain and they disrupt neurological signals. The neuronal impulse can bounce off of the heavy metal, or it'll get rerouted to try to go around it, and it can create all sorts of weird symptoms. So these are true physical causes that we didn't create. We didn't put the viruses or the toxins in us. We didn't even really know they were there. So it's not our fault. At all, at all. And the fact that it's blamed on us is really, for me, like a sense of injustice. I have a real sense of injustice at what I've been through. And it's sad. It's sad because, the doctors are well-meaning, and I met a lot of nurses and practitioners that were really caring and really wanted to help, and compassionate people. And it's sad that the industry information is just so wrong. And they have to blame us, our genes or our bodies, or just our character, because otherwise they'd have to take responsibility for the industrial chemicals and the pathogens that are in us. My grandfather died of mesothelioma, which is a cancer caused by asbestos. He was a factory worker. He was exposed to asbestos, which was used for insulation. And there's a huge fund for mesothelioma for people who get sick because it was proven that asbestos was the cause. So the industry had to put all this money into a fund to compensate people. So if it's shown that all these chronic illnesses are caused by chemicals and pathogens that the industry has created, it's going to be billions and billions and trillions of dollars in money, in lawsuits and class action lawsuits. So, obviously they don't want to, they can't own up to that. So they just blame, either in the case of mental illness, it's genetic, or in other conditions, it's autoimmune and the body's attacking itself. And so it's hurtful, and on top of everything I went through and the suffering and the hardship, to then, have it blamed on me, and then to have it never owned up to, and like people, I tell people, my families and friends, and they don't believe me. So it's like a triple whammy, because then like people don't even respect your story or believe you. So it's really a hard thing, and I'm just sharing this information to try to help people, because, like I said, if I had this information when I first got sick, it would have saved me a lot of hardship. So a true cause of mental illness is pathogens and toxins. It's not genetic. My grandmother had schizophrenia. She was in a home. We used to visit her. She was just drugged in a home. Basically lost her life. And there are people losing their lives today, suffering from mental illness. And so, the industry says it's incurable and it's genetic, but I've healed from it, which goes to show it's not genetic, because they also say it's incurable, which goes to show that they're wrong about that as well. So what happens is the pathogens and the toxins get passed down from generation to generation. So, let's say mercury is one of the heavy metals that contributes to mental illness. That mercury gets passed down from my grandmother to my mother to me, as well as the virus. Epstein-Barr is the main virus that contributes to chronic illness. So that gets passed down from generation to generation. And then we get new exposure, we get exposed to new viruses and new pathogens and new toxins, and it accumulates in the liver and the brain until certain life stressors, like my stress from college and, different things, different triggers can weaken our immune system, and the illness can manifest. So, once you know the truth, knowledge is power when it's based in the truth. So once you know the truth, you know what the cause is, then you know how to heal it. Once you have that information and you have the tools, then you can heal, and you can move forward. And it might take a while, it might take longer than we'd like, because it's not cool suffering, but little by little every day, if we're implementing the correct information, we're going to get better. And one of the things I learned from my illness, from my psychosis, is we can't have belief systems. We can't, I couldn't trust my beliefs when they were false beliefs, when I was having delusions and hallucinations. We can't just hold on to a belief system. What we have to do is we have to look at what actually works, what works. So we have to be neutral. We got to put our ego aside, and we have to look at what really works in the real world, what is applicable, and what gives results. So if this information is the truth, which it is, then it will give real world results. And that's what we have to do. We can't just go based on some belief that we heard somewhere, or some industry information that we don't really know the source. We don't know who's funding it. We don't know where it came from. Just saying the word science isn't enough. We have to actually look at what works. So I'm going to be sharing more information. You can check out my website. I share my healing story, how I healed. I give the tools, and I lay it all out there for you. So I wish you the best. I know how hard it is. Just know it's not your fault. You didn't create your illness. Healing is possible. And just keep the faith, keep the hope, and just keep moving forward day by day, and you can make progress. So, all right, God bless you. I wish you well.